Hey, what's going on, solarpreneurs? We are recording a podcast live from St. George, Utah, right here in front of the pool, the lagoon. Little wind in the background. Hopefully it's not too crazy. But today we're going to be talking about how you can save yourself thousands in adder fees, right? If you've been in solar for a while, you know that sometimes there's unexpected costs that come up. Sometimes there's things that the installers hit you with that can seem ridiculous. A lot of times it's justified, but I'm going to talk to you about how you can save yourself on a lot of these items. Okay, so all that and a whole lot more today. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Taylor Armstrong. We're here to help you close more deals, generate more leads and referrals, and have a much better time in the solar industry. We are in the summer season. I hope you're grinding. I hope you're not taking time off like I am right now. But if you are, make sure you deserve it, right? Nothing worse than taking time off when you've had a bad week the previous week, haven't closed any deals. So if you know you're taking time off, make sure you get that grind in so then you can relax and be fully present when you are taking time off. Today, wanted to bring those thoughts to you and just some things that are on my mind about the big A word, and that's adders. Right, so you got the standard adders in solar, you got main panel upgrades. Some companies, they do travel adders if they have a job that's further than their normal routes. You got trenching that can get called out. You got gas line relocations. Those can happen a lot here in San Diego where I sell out of. And so first of all, know your adders. Hey, don't go into a deal blindly. Nothing worse than selling a deal thinking you're going to make a good commission on it, and then all of a sudden you see the commission report and you're hit with every adder under the book. Okay, so know what your adders are, know the installers you're working with, and make sure you have fair adders. Right? There's some people that maybe have the really low baselines, really low red lines, but then they got just adders up the wazoo. Okay, and so sometimes the lowest red line isn't always the best. If you're new to solar, red line, you can look up some YouTube videos on this, red lines, baselines, but it's essentially the cost that the installer has of them doing business, and then what we sell for above that is our commissions, right? Our profits. Okay, and so I'm gonna get into some lessons that I learned. A few of them were a little bit painful. A few of them, luckily I was able to save myself from losing a lot more money on these deals. I'm gonna share a couple stories and things I learned from these that hopefully can help you be more profitable in your solar journey. Okay, so the first one was I had this account installed about a year ago. Okay, and I'm not gonna name who this installer was because, extremely frustrating what happened with this, but we installed it. Everything was good, and then about a year goes by and this customer still doesn't have permission to operate. We're still not passing an inspection. We don't know what's going on. And so finally I get an email from this installer and they say, hey, we need, in order to pass this inspection, turns out we need to upgrade their main panel, and we also need to do trenching. Been a year, right? I've already been paid out commission on this deal, and nothing more frustrating. I'm like, man, why could you guys not tell me this in the beginning? Why could we not know this before it was installed? So next thing I know, I'm getting clawed back money. All this money I'd made, it's just a negative balance now, and just so frustrating, right? Because it was all on them. So I'm like, why can't you guys pay for this? And they are like, oh, well, we'll split the cost with you. But it was like a $18,000 adder, I think, that was called out on this, between trenching, between upgrading the electric panel. So stuff that they should have caught. So what I did, and here's what saved me a little bit, is I started asking questions like, why send me all the details on this? And they send me exactly what needs to be done, trenching, panel upgrade, photos, this and that. What I did is I go, okay, well, let's see if there's another contractor that can do this cheaper, because it's a lot of money. So I went out, luckily had some other contacts, roofing companies I contacted, and they went through the photos I sent them, was able to save myself, I think about $4,000 that had been clawed back on this deal. Okay, so I still paid a price on this and it still was frustrating, but the lesson is, because I asked some questions, because I went and didn't just accept a fee, I went and looked at different contractors. We found someone that could do the trenching. We found someone that could save us a little bit on the panel upgrade and save myself about $4,000. So make sure you are asking questions like this. Make sure you're getting more details. Okay, and a couple other examples. This was just recently, last week actually. I had another installer who we sold a battery only job down here in San Diego. We're starting to do more and more just battery onlys. So we sold a battery only, cost the customer, I think it was $24,000 for a couple of Tesla power walls. And we're getting ready for install on this battery. And all of a sudden they hit me with travel adder. They hit me with an extra adder for the customer requesting it to be installed in the garage. And I think there's one or two others. And this was actually my first battery only install. I hadn't done this before. I kind of was just like, okay, well, whatever, I guess that's how it is. But then before this got installed, luckily I thought, you know what, I might as well just send a text to my contact from this installer, just double check on these, because it was like, you know, $3,000 extra adders that got put in. And, you know, I could have just went to the customer, told him he was actually writing a check, just paying for this cash. So I was just gonna go to the customer, but I'm like, well, let me get some more clarification on this. Texted our rep from this installation company, and turns out it was a mistake. And there were like two of the adders that were totally wrong on there. And so it ended up being about $1,500 less than the email we originally got. Okay, so again, another example of ask more questions. Hey, if you feel that maybe something's wrong with the adders you're getting charged, make sure you go to your reps at whatever installer you're using, get some clarification on it. It could be wrong. There could be different things you can do to save yourself from some of those adders. Okay, and then the last example I had here is this is an account I'm still actively working on. Another installer we used, they called out $12,000 again for trenching, for relocating the gas line. And this particular account, the customer, it was a small system, it's like a 3 kilowatt system. And this customer, she had discounts with the utility. She was on like the medical discount, which they have here in San Diego. And $12,000 worth of adders on that, not gonna be possible really in the deal. It already was pretty much breaking even with what she's paying monthly. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to go to the customer, just cancel the job. There's no way she's gonna wanna pay $12,000 or up her monthly price by a lot to cover all these costs. And this one, I guess it doesn't have a total resolution yet. But again, I asked for photos. I asked for all the evidence of why they're charging exactly what they're charging, so we can get clarification. We're in an email chain. I've been going back and forth for weeks. Finally, I got some photos of exactly why they're saying we need to relocate the gas line, exactly why they're charging for trenching. And just yesterday, I got another email from someone else on their panel. Like I guess they have a main MPU team, panel upgrade team. And they threw out some other solutions that we would have had no idea of unless we dug into those photos a little bit more. Because what I did by asking them for photos, I'm really, in a way, asking them to think a little bit harder, like, hey, what are some other solutions we have? Hey, and keep in mind, I'm not a super technical guy, right? I don't know all the ins and outs of panel upgrades, of all the I know the basics, right? Here in San Diego, if the gas line's within 3 feet of the electric panel and the panel needs an upgrade, then you need to relocate the gas line because it's not going to pass the inspection. And I know that if it's a 100 amp panel, I actually have a cheat sheet with this that I refer to. Hit me up if you want a copy of it. But if it's a 100 amp panel down here in San Diego, you typically can only fit small systems on. Okay, it depends on the panel type. And you know, if it's bigger than like a 4 or 5 kilowatt system, then you're probably gonna need a panel upgrade with that. Okay, so know the basics at least. Okay, the more you know, the better. But even if you just know the basics, get yourself some references. Use ChatGPT, right? Use that for everything. I pretty much replaced texting our support guys with just messaging ChatGPT because they can literally tell you everything. But know the basics, and then ask for more evidence, ask for what's going on, because what happened with this particular account is they're now offering other solutions. And the other thing I did with this is I said, okay, well, maybe if these guys don't have a solution, I'm gonna at least check with other installers, with our other installers, and see if maybe they have some solutions that these guys didn't think of, or maybe they can do it far cheaper for what the original installation company is quoting me for the adders. Okay, and so I sent the photos that I got, and of course I'm not telling that install company that I'm sending the photos to other installers, right? I'm just saying, hey, I need this for more clarification to explain to the customer. But I take the photos, I send it to some of our other install partners, and they're now giving me different solutions. One is talking about a Hawaiian tie-in, where you can essentially control how much power is getting exported to the grid. You know, you can go look up some of these things, Google, ChatGPT. We're having more solutions than what we were originally aware of. And at the very least, just because I got the photo, just because I asked questions, at the very least, I'm gonna save myself a couple thousand in adders, if not have a totally different solution, just because we got some more evidence. Hey, so, you know, I know these aren't the most entertaining stories. Sometimes this stuff gets a little technical, but the moral of all this is ask the questions, ask for evidence, be curious. Whatever clawbacks you have, whatever happens, sometimes we have deals where we thought we were gonna make one thing, we didn't make it. And I remember in the beginning of my career, I'd just be happy with whatever money came in. Hey, but now, as I've been in this for a while, I've learned to just question everything, because a lot of times people make mistakes. Keep in mind, a lot of these people at the install companies are hourly employees making probably minimum wage, right? So people mess up. Maybe commissions were sent out wrong, but even if they weren't, you need clarification on why things were changed, right? If you didn't make exactly to the penny what you thought you were gonna make, ask a question, right? Even if it's $5 less than you thought you were gonna make. Why? Understand why. Because you wanna make sure you're getting paid what you're worth. You wanna make sure you're having clarity on what adders you're being charged. And a lot of times it's mistakes on their end. So you can get those things corrected, and you can help the install company or your commissions department, whoever it is, you can help them make improvements and be better.